Hello, this is a homily for the final Sunday of the church year. This week will then run till the Mass before the beginning of Advent, which starts next Saturday. The feast today is called the Solemnity of our Lord Jesus Christ, King of the Universe. And this is a fitting end to the whole cycle of salvation that is celebrated through the course of the year, starting with the celebrations of Advent, preparing us for Christmas, and so on through ordinary Sundays, Lent, Easter, seasons of Easter, ordinary time, and so forth. What is happening here, what the church is doing, is basically coaching us in our faith. That's one level. Second level, we're learning how to be more faithful. With that in mind, let's go to the readings. In the first reading, we have, from the second book of Samuel, we have the various tribes of Israel coming to David at Hebron. The battles with the sons of Saul have already finished, and the last son of Saul has been killed. That's in the previous chapter, chapter 4. Here now you have the tribes, obviously representatives, saying, here we are, your bone and your flesh. The Lord has said to you, you shall shepherd my people Israel, and shall be commander of Israel. Then all the elders come to David, and King David made an agreement with them before the Lord. They anointed him king of Israel. So here you have one image of an earthly king, one of the very successful kings in Israel, lived through the providence of God and was graced by God in many, many ways, so much so that his line would continue, and one very significant member of that line would be a young man called Jesus of Nazareth, who many, many centuries later would be born of David's line. And so what you have is the earthly image, the earthly king. Right. Now, let's go to the reading from the Gospel, which in this case is taken from the Gospel of St. Luke. Luke 23, and what is it here? Here you have Jesus already nailed to the cross. Very different image of a king. The rulers of Jerusalem are mocking him. The soldiers are jeering at him. As they approached him, they offered him wine and said, if you are the king of the Jews, save yourself. Above him, Luke goes on, there was an inscription that read, this is the king of the Jews. So, very different image of kingship. Here is somebody who is dying for his people. David was celebrating being alive, being made king for his people. Here, Jesus has accomplished something which, of course, if we've been following through the church year, we know is a marvel. He has actually saved the whole of humanity from their sins. And yet, he's being nailed up on a cross, which, as we know, is the final act of his redemption. Okay. Aligned with that, just in the next verse, you have the story of the two thieves who were being crucified with him. They have an argument with each other, and one of the criminals says to the other one, have you no fear of God? The other one's been mocking Jesus. For you are subject to the same condemnation. Indeed, we have been condemned justly, for the sentence we received corresponds to our crimes. This guy had some insight. He had some grace. How many people do you know who know that they've been judged justly and will acknowledge that? But this man has done nothing criminal, he says. This is important. Now, let me go to how Thomas More interprets death. I'll show you why shortly. Just before his death, St. Thomas More, who, as you know, was executed by Henry VIII, said, "O God, grant me the ardent desire to be near you, not to be free from the miseries of this sad world, lesson to us, not to escape from the flames of purgatory or hell, lesson to us again, not even to attain and enjoy heavenly bliss, lesson to us, nor for my own profit, lesson to us, but simply and solely for love of you." Thomas has gotten, through the course of his long life and his prayer, has gotten to the real guts of being a faithful person. Faith means relationship to Jesus Christ. He loves Jesus. He's loved Jesus all his life, even when he was back in the Charterhouse as a young man, poor young man, learning how to be a lawyer. And so what you have is the center of the message of all these readings, that it is a relationship with Jesus Christ. That's the point that's going to be tested at the end of time. And these readings are preparing us for that. Why? Because the very next words in Luke's Gospel, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." He replied to him, "I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise." Jesus is the one who can do that. He can say, "You will be with me in paradise." And that's why we're celebrating this feast of Christ the King at the end of the church year. We've been through the whole history of salvation. Hopefully our faith has blossomed during this year. Hopefully we've become far more charitable people because of this. And now we're being told, look, attend to this man who is being crucified, because he can say things like this. And unlike so many people who say things, I live in Washington, so I know what people mean when they say things. Here's somebody who can actually say something and mean it and bring it about. This is amazing. And this is why we celebrate the kingship of Jesus Christ. Even though at first sight, the fact that we're hearing about his crucifixion can be really stunning. But it's just hopefully wakes us up and makes us realize relationship with Jesus, relationship with Jesus. That's the point. Thank you.